much more happening for Great Britain. I am what made Great Britain great! And look what's happening today. The houses that I made for you in the 1980s are now flooded. People swimming out of living rooms. I think it's absolutely disgusting. And don't think I don't know about the song Gone, Gone, the Witch is Dead, or Ding Dong. I'm appalled at you. What are you doing to Great Britain? I think the economy needs to stick together. We need to help each other. We need to support each other. Women need to stick together. I ruled once upon a time, and I helped everybody. Yes, me, Margaret Thatcher, your ruler. And just when you thought I'd gone, I'm back. And to the coalition government, I say this. It's only a matter of time before a woman rules Great Britain and helps the economy back on its feet. Let's get rid of the recession. Yes, we are in hard times. I am aware of that. But I know there's so much more together that we can do, helping each other. No, let me finish. Let me finish. Together, we can make Great Britain even greater than what it is. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I just want to touch on the subject of litter. Bend down and pick up your litter. Let's make Great Britain a tidier and cleaner and richer economy for us rich people to live in. Thank you.
Good evening, this is the 9 o'clock news from Maurice Stewart. Fresh claims surrounding the true identity of Michael Jackson have emerged. Sources have speculated that the black boy called Michael, who used to sing with the Jackson 5, is an alien from outer space. Finally, women are being offered free beauty treatment, including nail extensions and free hair weaves. Many have also received sport cars and a wardrobe of designer clothing. This is a direct attempt by the Metropolitan Police to encourage more women to join the police force.
Thank you, Maurice Stewart. I have to say, I'm a little bit upset, all right, because I was told that I was going to be at the Millennium Stadium. And I was expecting thousands and thousands upon thousands of people. But it hasn't happened, has it? But this is nice. We can make the most of it. And it's free anyway, isn't it? How are you all feeling? Anybody there? Oh, hurrah, you're fine. Oh, well, that's lovely. Well, I'm Bev, and this is lovely to see you, and it's really nice to be. I've got to say, I was in a little bit of a mess when I came here. I was a bit nervous, you see, because I haven't actually been on stage for a long time. And when I heard wow, I thought, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? So I was scurrying around trying to find what to wear. You know what it's like, don't you? And I said to my husband, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to say to them? There's going to be all these crowds of people, and I'll be signing all these autographs. Anyway, but, well, ladies, I've got to talk to you because, and it's lovely to see the women here. I mean, after all, this is a women's event, isn't it? But also it's nice to see the men getting a little break from being nagged. Yes, I do like to have a go at my husband sometimes. You know what it's like when you're laying in bed 3 o'clock in the morning, and we start, don't we? Now, come on, don't tell me you don't, because you do. I know it. You're laying in bed. And what's he doing? He's snoring. I should never have married you. I should never have bothered. All those years ago, what have you done for me? Nothing. Just got us in debt. Bills to pay and everything. Now I've got a job. You sleeping? Are you sleeping again? You're not listening to me, are you? It's only 3 o'clock in the morning. And we go on, don't we? And we moan, and then of course when we get into the car and we're driving him to somewhere, we have a go. Put your hands up. How many women have a go at their fellas? This is the time to be open and honest. This is a wow event. Let's tell the truth. Can we see a show of hands for all the women who have a go? Good. A little bit of honesty doesn't harm, does it? And the men. I think we ought to find out how the men feel about this. Hello, sir. What's your name?
George.
George! What a lovely name! I thought your name was George, actually. Getting a bit confused. What's your name, dear?
Yvonne.
Yvonne, you just made that up, didn't you? Anyway, George, does she have a go at you sometimes?
Has been known.
It has been known. When was the last time you had to go at him? Go on, you can tell us. We won't tell anyone, will we? Should we keep it a secret? It's all between us. All right? It's all confidentiality. When did you have a go at him last year? Be honest.
This morning?
That's what I love. Join the club, darling. You can sign up, join me on Facebook. That's what I love. Honest women, you see. We're not afraid to tell the truth, are we? Do you know, I'm having a wonderful time up here. I don't care about you. You can all go home. I'll just sit here and talk to myself. I'll do it anyway. Anyway, dears, it's very nice to be here. And, hello? What? In the fridge? Look at the top shelf. I don't know. Just check. Yes, have a look. I'm busy at the moment. I'm at the Millennium Centre. Talking to people. Yes. Don't interrupt me now. I've got to go. All right? Yes, speak to you later. I don't know. I don't care about the sell-by dates. We'll talk about it later. Just sort something out. Beans. I don't care what we have tonight. Leave me alone. Goodness, these men, they don't give us a break, do they? It's just constant. It's one thing after the other. Do you know, can you all see me, by the way? Because I can just about see you down there. Can you all see me? Good. Because I went to the opticians the other day to have an eye test. And he said to me, it was an Indian lady, actually. Wasn't a bloke, and she was so lovely. And she said, now we are going to give you a test. All you have to do is close your eyes. I said, close my eyes? I said, how can I see if you close them? Don't talk, just close, just close. Anyway, so I had a little look, and she wanted me to read the top line. So I started reading, and she said, all I want you to do is to read the top line there. You see? Just read the top line for me. Yes, yes. So I started. I said, F. Oh, hang on. U. I think that's a C. Oh, very good, very good. Now what is the last letter? I don't know. It looks like a K or an R. Now just tell me the next word. Look at the next word. I said F-U-C. O-F-F. Very good, very good. And so I've got a lovely pair of glasses. And they're quite trendy, actually. And she said to me, she said, now, one more test we have to do. If you just put this on your head, peep through the holes and tell me what you see. Can you see anything? Have another look. Look at the numbers, girl. Oh, very good, very good. All right, your test is done. Now you can find your way out. I crawled my way out, but I got to the door, and I got myself some spectacles at the next appointment. and I have to say, I've brought them with me tonight, and they're okay. Anybody here wear glasses? You do, you wear glasses. Well, I wear glasses. There's nothing wrong with wearing glasses. You know, when we were young, of course, they used to call us things like square eyes and four eyes and things like that. But it doesn't matter. I'm not ashamed to say that I wear glasses. And if I need them, then I will use them. I'm going to tell you something, actually. I like to write poetry. And I like to write poetry, and do you know, I'm having such a lovely time here. I really am. I mean it. This is my idea of heaven. You're such a wonderful audience, just sitting there. I know it's free, but I mean, this is lovely. This is just our time, okay? And it's really good. So thank you very much for being so good. I'm also a qualified teacher, so I mean, it's lovely. You know, if you were my pupils in the class, I'd give you all a little star, a little gold star for being ever so good. Anyway, do come in and sit down. It's all free. It doesn't cost anything, you know, honestly. You don't mind. Sit yourself down, make yourself at home, lovely cushions and everything. You know, a freebie, we all love a freebie, don't we? Hey, sit yourself, that's right, let him be at home, let him sit next to you. Give him a bit more room, come on, make him comfy, all right? Very nice. Are you from this country? Are you from here, from Wales? You're not, where did you come from? Oh, hang on, I'm going to do my little snitch now. Didn't see this coming, did you? Where are you from? I'm having a lovely time. I don't care about anybody else. I don't care for the fact that I'm not in the Millennium Stadium where I was supposed to be, because they promised me, and I'm here, just so everybody can hear. I'm supposed to be in the Millennium Stadium. What's your name? Offshin. Like, as in, Offshin. Oh, Offshin. Offshin. That's easy to say. I just had another test. It was F-U-C and the next word was off. So there you are. Anyway, what's your name? Mina. Mina and Offshin.
Massa.
Massa, Mina and Offshin. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. What you doing here then? Because it's free. What you doing here? Tourists, that's what they all say. They let you through immigration without any problems then. That's good. How long are you here for, dear? Oh, it's all right. Border force aren't looking. How long are you here for? You can tell me. We'll keep it to ourselves. Go on. A week. Good. I thought I saw you here last year. Anyway, nice to see you, dear. Listen, it's lovely to see you. My name is Bev, and we're going to have a lovely time, so don't you go away. All right? Sit here, and you can use that camera. Don't send any pictures to the DWP. All right? None to the DWP. Oh, and by the way, this is my best side. Come on, snap then. We need to take the lens cap off. Done it! Oh, I love you. Don't go, will you? It's a nice country, Wales. Stay in Wales, won't you? You're welcome here, all right? Right. Anyway, going to read you a bit of poetry. Do you like poetry? Do you all like poetry? Good. And if you don't, that's tough, because I'm going to read you a poem. It's called Miss Izzy Busy Bee. This is actually a poem about a lady from the 19th century. Now, early 19th centuries, do you know when there was a lot of women my skin colour who were having to work really hard and look after people and make all the teas and scrub the floors and everything, you know, 18th century, 19th century, what have you. Let's just have a little listen to this. And it's called Miss Izzy Busy Bee. My name's Miss Izzy Busy Bee. In early 19th century, I live and work in this grand house. I share my room with a little grey mouse. His name is Frederick. I clean the house and serve the tea. The lady, oh, Mrs. Now she rings the bell for me. I's a coming, ma'am. Izzy, it's 9:05. My tea is late. You're the servant, and I won't wait. I cook, I scrub, each day I clean. The pay's so bad, these folk real mean. And to escape, I read a book. Charles Dickens, I try to sneak a look. Shh, don't you be saying nothing now. Oh, the bell's ringing. That be the master. See, he be wanting his brandy. I run and hide if he feeling randy. So thank you folks for listening to me. I's Miss Izzy, Busy Bee. Good night, y'all. Thank you. The next poem I wrote is about a lady who, it's just one of those things. It happened. The postman knocks in the morning. He was absolutely gorgeous, right? Real good muscles, tall, lovely guy. And she fancied this postman. Anyway, she went downstairs because he had a recorded delivery. And she went downstairs to go and get the post. And something happened. It changed her life completely, as you're about to see. Here I am, pregnant again. Baby number 4. Oh, don't look at me like that. The postman was at the door. Oh, he was tall and dark and handsome. Not too fat, but not too thin.
Recorded delivery, madam.
I said never mind that, get in. And then we legged it up the stairs and flew open the door. He looked at me. I looked at him. I knew he wanted more. Oh, there was no protection. Well, none that I could see. Do you know, I didn't think for just 1 minute that this would happen to me. So, next time I hear that doorbell ring, I won't go out to play. I'll slowly creep down the stairs. I'll take a peep, and I'll turn and walk away. My next poem is, whose life is it anyway? And you know what it's like, come on, in society we have so many pressures, you know, to look slim, like these magazines, you know, these thick people I call them, but we are who we are and that's it, and we can't change that. And I got quite obsessed about all of this, and I decided to write a poem. Do feel free to sit down if you want to. I decided to write a poem, and I called it, Whose Life Is It Anyway? And this is for everyone, it's for men, it's for women, it's for anyone who's just had enough of people in society expecting us to look, to be a certain way. Otherwise we get called all sorts of stupid, ridiculous things on the streets, don't we? So here we are, and it's called, Whose Life Is It Anyway? So I'm fat. And what, you're thin? The beauty in me lies within. But who says I'm ugly? Because fat keeps me warm. No burgers or chips, or how I was born. A diet of lies, stresses and bills. I don't believe in diet pills, or liposuction or any of that. And no, I don't like being fat. I exercise, so we shall see. Perhaps I'll lose a stone or 3. If I was skinny, would I feel free? Or am I running away from just being me? Thank you. Just a little think about that. It's about acceptance, isn't it? Thank you. I want to tell you a little bit about when I was growing up in London and I met my first love. He had an afro. And it was the days when we wore the... Anyone remember the flared trousers? Remember the flares? He wore the flares, the bee's knees. I used to love him coming down to pick me up after school in the car, and it was a custom car, and I was it! Me! One! Bev! I got a boyfriend, na, 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 na. It's called Puppy Love. I grew up playing with tiny dolls and pretend cups of tea. I hit my teens, discovered love. He was everything to me. We fell in love, or so I thought. His afro caught my eye. He made me laugh. I mothered him and never made him cry. We had a child. I felt grown up, a mother to a son. And then frustration hit me. Was I the only one? Sleepless nights and teething pains, nappies by the score. And when it came to changing him, his dad ran out the door. Gone out like, see me mates. You know what I mean? I'm going out to see my mates, you know? He'd boast and swagger out. This ain't how I imagined it. I wanted to scream, not shout. I had to work to bring him cash because he lived on pipe dreams. Guess I learned the hard way. Love ain't what it seems. Thank you. My next poem is about something that happens. Perhaps someone, I wouldn't be surprised if there is someone in this audience who has experienced being bullied in the workplace. Yes? It happens. So I'm going to read you a poem about being bullied in the workplace. And this poem is about a lady who was bullied. She felt she had no one to turn to. She felt isolated in her own pain. She'd put on a front to the staff because she had to. But this, or she felt she had to. This poem is called Ran Out of Ink. And I just want to tell you this poem is about a teacher. And I've decided to call this, quite appropriately, Ran Out of Ink. Faye dreamt of being a teacher since the age of 4. The only ethnic teacher, wished that there'd been more. At first, the head seemed welcoming. Her line manager was pleased. She now had teacher status, but soon felt ill at ease. The head saw Faye was popular, worked hard, often stayed late. No end to increased workload. At times, last out the gate. Her job description never came. She waited several weeks. Too many tasks, impossible, no time to sit and speak. Some mornings he'd be at the gate, gave other staff a smile. Faye looked at him, he looked away. Made her feel so vile. She reported his behaviour, but things did not improve. She even made inquiries, hoped she'd get a move. The next day, in her pigeonhole, the words did not ring through. Capability monitoring? She said, this can't be true. She dreaded going into work. The thought now made her cry. And then she wrote a letter she'd left without goodbye. No reply to phone calls, answer phone instead. The next day in the papers, black teacher, bullied, dead. I'm really sorry to change the mood like that, but it was just something that I think sometimes we don't talk about these issues. We don't talk about bullying in the workplace. So I just felt, okay, come on, I'm going to talk about it. Another thing that happens to, I think it's 1 in 4 people, 1 in 5 people, is depression. And I can see some people sitting in the audience, perhaps, and thinking, oh, she's ringing a bell. Because it happens to 1 in 4 people. All right? It happens, and there's so much stigma going on surrounding depression, and I think that it's something that we need to talk about, and we need to support each other. And so I decided to write this poem, and this poem is something that's from the heart, because I have experienced depression, and I have to tell you, I actually didn't leave the house at all. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling, day after day after day, Looking up at the ceiling, I can tell you every single detail on the ceiling in the bedroom because that's what happened to me. So I am now going to read you a poem that I wrote at the time, and it was how I was feeling at the time. And the title is apt. I called it My Best Friend is the Ceiling. The bed is warm. I snuggle in, like a cat secure in its space. I'm comforted by the emptiness inside the room. No noise to crowd my racing head. My life's a play, acted out when deep in thought I lie still. Images flashing, gathering pace. My hopes and dreams bring out a smile, like the ray of sunshine through the curtain it peeps. I snuggle in once again, warming yet another space. Like a big furry cat, I lie and wait for nothing. Time has no meaning. I feel no guilt. The whitened ceiling keeps its shade, bringing comfort to the room. No strangers or sudden movements as I slowly turn to check the freshly painted ceiling. I know each spot, each tiny speck of purely coloured paint. It's my thinking canvas, always there and never lets me down. A hidden crack appears. When will it be filled? I glance over at the empty chair where I once sat and rocked. Thank you. I used to have a rocking chair in the bedroom. I am also a Welsh speaker. I don't know if we have any Welsh speakers in the audience, but this poem I wrote is about when I was a little girl, and I used to love spending time in the kitchen. I grew up in London, by the way, and I learnt Welsh. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I came here in the 1980s, late 1980s, and I learnt Welsh as a hobby. And I ended up doing a degree through the medium of Welsh. And before you say, oh my gosh, you couldn't have done that. Yes, it can be done. I'm not standing here boasting, I'm just telling you that it can be done. And I am hoping to get a publisher to publish my book with a CD on how I did it, because there are little steps. So I wrote this little poem. I thought I'd write it in Welsh, because I quite like the idea of having the two cultures, of mixing them together. So this one it's got a little bit of my mother in it, who was born in Jamaica. And this poem is called Pan oeddwn i'n ferch fach. It's about when I was a little girl and I was in the kitchen watching my mother prepare ackee and saltfish. Anyone heard of ackee and saltfish? Rice and peas and chicken? Okay, well here we are. So this is called Pan oeddwn i'n ferch fach. It's all about when I helped my mother in the kitchen. Treulais I amser ar y gegin gyda mam, gwnaeth hi sosban fawr o jam. Ackee a saltfish ciwia wedi ffrio. Helpais I hi weithiau, wel, roeddwn i'n trio. Beddali, I am going to cook some jerk chicken. Bydda hi'n dweud, gwnaeth hi saws arbennig, roedd llawer i'w wneud. Bues yn helpu fy mam ac yn dangos pach. Mwyn heiais I coginio pan oeddwn i'n ferch fach. Thank you. Next, I would like to read you a poem about when grey skies turn blue. Again, this is a poem about feelings, emotions, how I was feeling, and it's called When Grey Skies Turn Blue. I go to events in various places, lots of people, mainly white faces. A black woman leaves, now it's only me. For now, I'm in the minority. I know no one, and no one knows me. In the break, we all sit and drink tea. A friendly face says, "Hi, I'm Sue, a service user." We talk, we laugh, she seems so nice, lots to say and sound advice. Go to meetings, stand up, be proud, get your voice heard, be clear and loud. If you don't say, they won't know. Forward's the only way to go. Being black and mentally ill, there's no magic cure. no magic pill. But I do my bit and research well. At times it's been a living hell. Thoughts racing through my weary head, not wanting to get out of bed, speak to no one, be on my own, don't watch TV, unplug the phone. But one small step can be so great, because I've learnt time doesn't wait. I've met various people, heard many speakers. Recently I met some asylum seekers. They felt alone, without a voice, told not to work. I had no choice. Hamida lived from day to day, waiting for her right to stay. Her brother, who has sickle cell, says there's no cure, he's so unwell. Their situation just got worse. They felt that they'd endured a curse. They now have contacts to climb the rope. Without the third sector, they wouldn't have coped. Depression can make the day seem dull, a feeling that is true. Slow-moving clouds, a ray of hope, when grey skies turn blue. Next, I'd like to read you a poem, and this poem is called Seeking Asylum, Seeking Hope, and it comes from some asylum seekers who I've met in my time, on my journey through life, but also watching programmes on the television. Has anyone seen UK Border Force at all? Okay, there's a programme, UK Border Force, and basically what it is, it's a programme that shows asylum seekers trying to get away from their own country, and they're actually getting into the lorries, sitting with all the crates and everything, travelling for miles, and doing their best not to get caught when they get to the other end. So what we're going to do, I'm going to read this poem, you can see what happens at the end, but I decided to call this poem Seeking Asylum, Seeking Hope. And it really is from a girl's point of view, a young woman, and I just want you to have a think. I want you to picture the scene where they are in this lorry and they've had to wait, because you can't just walk in there, you've got to wait until you see the lorry driver goes into the cafe, he goes to get himself something to eat, and they've got to then use that golden opportunity to break through and to sneak into this lorry and hide with all these crates for hours and hours and hours on end. They're all huddled up together, trying to get right to the bottom and hope that they can't be seen and they can escape. So, it's called Seeking Asylum, Seeking Hope. Smiling faces greet their chariot, no white horses to take them away into the chilling night. In silence they watch, his hungry belly hangs. He walks towards the flashing lights, Le Café. Hurried feet hasten, fast fingers fumbling, a task they'd done so many times before. She sees her gap, waiting to be filled, the jigsaw in her stolen years, when once too young to run and hide. Bulging boxes keep her warm, buried down below. She makes herself at ease. The smell, weeks of burning keeping warm, no wood needed, not tonight. His now filled stomach wobbles to his whistling tune. With closed eyes, she smiles, inshallah. Haunted by her younger years, the voice of soldiers who stole her bleeding heart, like a child snatched from her mother's womb. A rag doll she became. Suddenly the engine sounds, louder than the soldiers' guns that blasted through the streets of fear, big wheels turning down below. The ride without a fare. She sleeps at last. English voices, painted lips, beating hearts as they draw near. Torches flash in flushed faces. Clandestine down here, one female, clandestine! A word they heard, a word they all had feared. Questions asked, no one replies, each stare into a camera lens. Like the guns that once faced north, as she lay on frozen ground, a child, heads bowed, they walk away, so close, but yet so far. Thank you. And my next poem I'd like to read you is a knife poem. And this poem, because I'd imagine a lot of you have heard about knife crimes that are going on around lots of places. In England, lots of places. So this poem is about a boy, school-aged. And this boy was just innocently walking along the road, making his way home from school, to see his mother, to perhaps go on the Xbox, to play on the Xbox, to do his homework, to be with his friends, to do the normal things that they do. A lovely boy, doing really well in school. Really well in school. Never got in any trouble, very polite. Teachers loved him. A, B's on his reports. I called it the knife poem. And this poem is about a gang. And it shows the mentality of some people. Don't walk on my pavement, don't come on my territory, it's my patch, keep away. He listened to his other mates who joined the deadly gang. No guns to shoot on streets of rage, no screams of no, then bang. He felt he needed to fit in, a hero in their eyes, a trophy to his heroes, a stabbing was the prize. And as they chased another boy who walked alone from school, to them it was their territory, their patch, and this they ruled. And as the boy lay bleeding, so near to his home, they ran and left him dying, gone was his mobile phone. Passers-by came rushing, his mother screamed in pain. His heart was crushed forever. Blood flowed in pouring rain. White became red towels. Crowds gathered, young girls screamed. They recognised their classmate. Was this really what it seemed? Sirens getting closer, through traffic lights on red. Came the blue lights flashing. Too late, the boy was dead. This poem I'm going to do in character. And again, this is a poem about a lady who did not leave her house because she felt very lonely. And I actually saw something recently in the Daily Mail about loneliness. And because we are moving into this world, of new technology, where we don't communicate. Do you think we communicate enough with each other? Can we have a show of hands? Do you think that we communicate enough with each other? I'm talking about, we've got the emails and all the internet. Do you think we're sort of losing that? What do you think? Do you think we're communicating enough? No? You know, we've got the internet and what have you. Your neighbours, do you all know your neighbours? You do. So you all know your neighbours, everything. You all communicate and everything. Well, this lady has not been out for a while. And what's happened is her curtains are closed and they've just said, okay, she's just not going out. Well, in actual fact, she's feeling really lonely and she's really, really sad. And this is a poem which I wrote in Welsh and it's called Diniema. Diniema means we are here. All right? So her name is Maya. She hardly goes out, but people actually do not know what to do. They don't know whether to go and knock the door to see if she's okay. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to treat this situation. So what they do is say, okay, we'll just leave it. Her curtains are shut. We haven't seen her for, 4 weeks. She hasn't been out. We'll just leave it. That's what she wants to do. She doesn't even sit in the garden anymore. She used to love gardening and sitting in the garden. She doesn't go in the garden anymore. So it's called Diniema. And I will do this in character.
Dim wedi gweld Maya ers peth amser. Dwi ddim yn dod allan o'r tŷ. Rhywbeth fel eisiau ysbryd gael hollol newydd I fi. O dwi ddim yn agor I pheni. Neu eistedd I lawr yn yr ardd. Ond ydy ni fod i'w bod hala blodau neu rhywbeth bachaf. Iechyd meddwl, na beth wedodd rhywun yn dawel dim ond i'w Christian ni. Maya, os wyt ti'n gwrando caniad, ni'n dymuno hapus roedd I ti.
Basically, they were wishing happiness to Maya because they didn't know what to do. So they wrote this poem for Maya in the hope that she would know. She would know. Okay, what I'm going to do, finally, I'm going to read you my last poem. And my last poem is about my mother coming to this country in the late 1950s. And this one is called The Land of Milk and Honey. She travelled for miles and miles from Jamaica. The big ship sails slowly like a small snail, sailing on the sea. Joy fills the air once more. Each smile widens, teeth dazzle in the scorching sun. Farewell, Jamaica, she sighed. Looking ahead, green jacket and short skirt. Slim down her one small waist. Petite feet in high-heeled shoes lengthen her long brown legs. As she turns, palm trees fade, a distant memory. Thoughts of loved ones left behind. A tear of sadness fills the eye. No cockerels to greet the morning sun, sweet smells on market day. Purse slips as thoughts linger in the air. Some sing sweet songs in harmony. Church hats firmly fixed around them head. A light breeze blows men's trousers wide as skirts, shiver as them sway. Dominoes dancing pon the deck. Them play. Day turns to night and night to day. In unison, two women sigh. England, the land of milk and honey. Thank you. Finally, I would like to just perform a little piece of my mother in the 1950s. It was very difficult in those days trying to get a room, trying to get accommodation, and you went from house to house, knocking on the doors, trying to get somewhere to stay. So I would now like to just do a little piece for you of what it was like, based on also what my mother told me when she came to this country, when she came to Great Britain, and what it was like for her trying to get accommodation.
Big horse. Let me try this horse. What do you want? Can't you see the sign? Can't you read? No blacks, no Irish, no dogs in here. Can't you read? Oh, sorry to bother you. I just thought you might have a little room. Sorry to bother you, madam. Washed up
you so much for, oh, come on. Don't read it. So, that's what happened. And I have to tell you, every time I've thought about that, I've broken into tears because that was my mother's favourite record. But she told me what it was like, and it was very difficult being spoken to like that when she came to this country trying to get a place and going from house to house, knocking on doors and being spoken to like that. Don't forget she came from Jamaica, you know, where everyone knew everyone and everyone was happy and would welcome you in and the doors were wide open. And to come to that was something else. So, have you got any questions at all? I'm happy to answer questions. I believe we're going to have a Q&A session. Can I just say, by the way, that you've been absolutely marvellous. You really have. Thank you so much.
I'm Hannah from Wales Millennium Centre, and one of the coordinators for Wild Cardiff's the first event for us to celebrate women of Wales and beyond. And I just want to say thanks, Bev, for sharing so much of yourself with us on stage today. If we could just... Do you mind if I ask a few questions? I'm not as fluid as you are, I've had to write it down. Bev, you performed a sketch about your mother coming to Britain in the late 50s from Jamaica. What was it like for her in England compared to her life growing up in Jamaica?
Right. It was a culture shock. For a start, she arrived in November, and she was expecting she was carrying my sister. She was pregnant, my sister, and it was very tough. I mean, even having to leave the family and everything, and then coming to this country and adjust to the cold weather, for instance, was a real culture shock. It was very, very difficult for Mum growing up and finding her way. In those days, you know, NHS, they were looking for nurses, they were looking for people to work on British Rail. That's why, of course, there are so many black people in London Transport, for instance. You know, their fathers, their grandchildren ended up, you know, staying in. And my father ended up working on aeroplanes, but for Mother, she went into the NHS, and so she did a bit of nursing. And again, you know, it was really, really tough for her. I mean, she did settle down. She was a lovely, lovely woman. She passed away in about 1986. But she was here for a long time, and she settled down in Brixton Hill. I don't know if anyone's heard of Brixton Hill in London. There you are. Have you been there, by the way? Oh, well, there you are. Well, I was born and raised in Brixton Hill in London, and that's where Mum was. So that's interesting. Oh, nice to know that you've been to Brixton Hill.
What aspects of her life has had an influence on you?
Ah, well, that's an interesting question, because there are aspects of my mother's life that have certainly had an influence on me, and one of them is I like to go to women's events, and that's something, if I'm perfectly honest with you, or just events in general, because I think we can learn so much from going to conferences and going to meetings and going to things. Unfortunately, my mother was very much in the home, and of course to this day my biggest regret is the fact that she would cook and clean, and that's what I remember most about Mum. She was always helping, and I always vowed that yes, I would do things in the home, but I would make a point of trying my best to get out when possible. That's not always possible because of depression, so I don't always get to leave the house because I get scared. And I look back and I do wonder whether my mother experienced depression, but I did vow that I was going to try my best and do what I can to learn more about life and the world around me. And she was very much controlled, but certainly she's been a big influence on me, so much so that I have actually got to 60,000 words in a book, which I hope to get published. It's basically my life and what it was like growing up and the big changes, and also there's a lot of my mother's influences on me in that book.
So at the start you introduced us to some of your character work, which included Margaret Thatcher. What made you choose the female Prime Minister as one of your main characters?
When I was in primary school, I used to do a lot of impressions, and it was really strange because Margaret Thatcher actually came to me. It was so so strange, not in person, but I saw her at the time as a very powerful woman, and I think, of course, being influenced by my mother, I thought, that's interesting, and I found I would look in the mirror and impersonate her, and what happened was I ended up doing lots and lots and lots of performances in London. There were a lot of press attention, because Bev was the black Margaret Thatcher. I was known as the girl of 1,000 voices. I used to do EastEnders characters, I used to do Coronation Street, but Margaret Thatcher I saw as a very powerful, influential woman at the time, and she was like the person around, really, who was out there. And being female, and I thought, right, you know, her mannerisms was something that really, really caught my attention. So, yes, she became one of my main characters when I was in London, going around doing shows, doing television, doing radio. Margaret Thatcher, that's the one they wanted to see.
You shared some really beautiful poetry with us today. So how important is it for you to write poetry on various topics, such as well-being, women's issues, equality, etc.? And do you ever use other forms of creative writing as well?
Yeah, first part of that question, poetry is very, very important to me. Poetry has become my friend. Because I don't have childhood friends here. I came to live here in the 1980s. So poetry became like a cloak for me. I actually discovered, through having depression, if I'm perfectly honest with you, that's when I discovered that I was able to write down my feelings through, in poetry, you know, sometimes free verse, but I was able to express myself. It was really, 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 really interesting being able to do that. And I love poetry. To the second part of the question, which is other forms of writing, yes, I do like to write other bits of writing. I write children's stories in Welsh. I also write them in English. I also write scripts. I love writing TV scripts. I have been paid for one actually some time ago. It was for Channel 4, The Real McCoy. So I like writing comedy scripts. I like writing plays. This is something that I would like to get more involved in and go to a writer's workshop. I think that's something I'd certainly benefit from. So yes, I do other forms of writing.
One last question. You read a short poem you'd written in Welsh, and how is it for you, Bev, coming to grips with Welsh as a learner? I'm a fluent speaker, and it was wonderful listening to you reciting Welsh, but so that's one part of the question. The final part of that question is, what else have you got planned in the horizon?
Okay. Yeah, I started learning Welsh as a hobby. I saw these signs on the street, the double L's, all that, and thought, how on earth do you say that? I was curious, I was fascinated. And again, a lot of that is in the book, exactly the thoughts that were going through my head, because I didn't have anyone else to speak, you know, to converse with me. So it was very much by myself. It was quite an isolating experience originally. Then I went to adult education. I went on from there. I went back to school as an adult. I begged, would you let me come back to school, sort of thing, and they did. And then I ended up going to university and doing a degree through the medium of Welsh, and after having been to adult education. And I had lots of techniques, lots and lots and lots of different techniques, which is why I've decided to write a book, because I've had literally hundreds and hundreds. If I could have a pound for everyone who said to me, my God, how did you do it? You know, because it can be done. I'm not saying I have the answers, but I can certainly tell you that it did work for me, so there is a chance it can work for other people. What have I got on the horizon? Well, I occasionally, when I'm able to, I do a bit of supply teaching. I would like to get a publisher for my book, and get my book produced, like a biography really, and get that out and get that published. I would like to do CDs for Welsh learners to encourage Welsh people to learn Welsh. I think it's a wonderful language, it can be done, I absolutely love learning it. And on the horizon, well, who knows? You know, I sort of take one day at a time, and I'm just thankful for being able to stand here, you know, being vertical and speaking to you today. And I do thank you again for being such a lovely audience, so thank you so much.
Very late, unfortunately. So, are you living in Cardiff?
No, I'm in Bath.
Oh, so am I. So where can I see you?
Oh, we'll get together, all right? I'll give you some details.
Are you doing it? Yes, please, that'd be great. Unfortunately, I'm not on the internet, so it's a bit difficult.
No, well, I hope to be doing other things in this, you know, this mental health and everything else. I really would like to, you know, I would like to be, I will actually be on SLC.
I don't speak Welsh.
Oh, okay. Use a subtitle. All right, it's just basically ever so much, Bev. It's been wonderful having you. This is our first Women of the World Festival, and I hope you'll join us in 2015, and I'm sure you'll like to see Bev again.